This week's been hard work. Been working on connecting all my track up to the bus wires using the droppers underneath, which seemed like an absolute endless job. But now it's all done and the track's all working. I've had a train running round to test it. I've also made some progress on the town scene, planning out where the roads and access to the car park and the station will be. The town's starting to take shape with all the lighting now working on the streets and the roads all being painted up. The low relief buildings have now also been put in place. Some of their internal lighting has been put into the buildings but not yet connected. I need to get some switches to be able to turn the lights on and off independently. I'm going to start making the template for the outside of the platforms. On my computer I've drawn out a rough scale so that I have a template and an idea of how I'm going to create the edge of the platform. At the moment I want a step which will be 2mm or half a foot in 00 scale, and this will provide the edge. I'm going to pour plaster of Paris onto the edge. I initially thought some cardboard would be enough, lined with some plastic, but it looks like this is going to be too flimsy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build it out of old cardboard boxes, cut up, and make them all neat and then line them with plastic so I can pour the plaster of Paris in. I'm doing it at this stage so that I can put all my wiring in before I pour the plaster. I can bring that up to little junction boxes, scale junction boxes on the platform, so I can then use them to wire up any lights, any accessories that I want to put on the platform edge. From those, I'll also make sections so that I can lift the plaster of Paris out in those sections, so I've got access to the baseboard underneath. I had thought about making the entire platforms removable, but then when I'm trying to store my layout completely, it would be difficult to keep the plaster of Paris and any plaster moulded items neat on the edge. So I've decided to put them on the board so that they stick down, but I will make areas where I can pull them out. I'm now quite happy with the way that this is sitting on the layout. I've not started at the end of the stations, basically because I'm going to be tapering those sections down, so I'm going to be more involved with a different mould for that. So I started at this section where the station is going to be flat, and I'm not planning on having any wires coming up at this point. I may have wires coming up either side of this section, to junction boxes or to the lighting, for the lighting, which I'll just pull wires straight through for. Next step, I'm going to start mixing up some plaster of Paris to pour in this mould. I won't fill it full to start with. What I'll do is I'll put a small layer in the bottom, let that go off for a bit, and then fill it up to the top. That means I've got more control. So as you can see, I've now let the first section set. It still needs a bit of time. The packet says for large areas 1 to 2 days before it can be painted. I've then moved on to do the start second section, so I have a base plaster in here, and as you can see, I've brought 2 wires through for the 12 volt DC connection, which can be used for lighting and any other accessories that I want to put in the station, in the main concourse central part of the platform. Using the plastic lined former has been quite helpful. It's given me a nice smooth edge along the side. It's still quite rough on the top, but that'll be fine for sanding down, and it'll look like convincing concrete once it's actually been painted up with a grey colour. Using the plaster does mean that I can create a platform of any shape. So at the end of the platform I do have a slight curve, so I can take it round that curve with the actual shape of the station. Any scraps I've just put into the bottom of the next section. So when I finished making this one up, I had lots of little pieces, as you can see, around the layout. They've all been put into here, so they'll get set into and I won't have much waste at all from this. The plaster Paris that I used was from Hobbycraft, and I've used almost the whole kilogram to get this amount, so I'm going to need a fair amount more, probably another 2 bags, to be able to finish this. I'm quite happy with the results. It's quite smooth. As I say, it will take a bit longer to fully set. It does feel a bit damp at the moment, but I'll update you in next week's update. Hi, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If not, it's a thumbs down. Please remember and subscribe.